Tonight's interview is with Willliamson Branch. Welcome to Neon Productions Radio.
Thank you, Bert. Glad to be here.
And we're going to talk with Kevin Williamson, and we're going to hit all the members of the band.
Yeah.
But right now we're going to start off with Kevin, and Kevin was recently nominated for a Bluegrass Entertainer of the Year award. Go to it.
It's pretty exciting, isn't it?
It is. How did you get this award?
Well, actually, I didn't win it this time. I was in some pretty high cotton as far as that nomination was concerned, with Rhonda Vincent and Jamie Daly of Daly and Vincent, and several other really awesome entertainers. So I didn't win it this time, but after 30 some years of playing bluegrass music, I finally was a blip on the radar screen. So it was pretty exciting.
Bluegrass. Why'd you pick bluegrass?
Well, it was kind of picked for me when I was about 7 or 8 years old. My dad, we moved, and his new friends played this very strange music that had banjos and fiddles and mandolins, and so he became enthralled with bluegrass music. So I kind of grew up from that point on in a bluegrass household, and we eventually ended up touring with my dad and his band. And he and I had a band together, and then eventually Debbie and I, when she and I married, we ended up with our own band, and so it's just been in the family.
You're going to keep it in the family, right?
Obviously, yes.
Now you play rhythm guitar?
I do.
You play anything else?
I'm a bass player, and started out as a bass player, but right now I've got a better looking bass player than I am, so I'm just chunking the rhythm guitar. Yes.
That tiny little bass guitar you got puts out some pretty good sound.
Yeah, that's
How
pretty
did you
cool.
find something like that?
Well, and we kind of stumbled upon that at a trade show at the International Bluegrass Music Association. We were looking for a small bass for our small bass player, and a guy said, "Well, have you seen the U bass?" And we said, "The what bass?" And that's what we ended up with. It's actually a ukulele body with big rubber strings.
So it's called a U bass.
A U bass.
It's the first I've heard of it.
That's not a U bass. That's a my bass.
Now you've worked with bluegrass bands like Glenn Duncan and Phoenix, Dave Evans and River Bend, Country Gentlemen, and Farm Hands Quartet.
Yep.
Are these all in the same local area, or do you have to travel to get to these bands?
Well, these are bands that I've worked with over the years. So the first 2 or 3 bands were bands that I worked with back in Western West Virginia, Eastern Kentucky, in the place that I was raised. And the last band that I worked with was a band called the Farm Hands Quartet. They're based here out of Nashville.
Now you performed with Bill Monroe.
I've sung with Bill Monroe several times. I used to go out to a club in Hendersonville on Wednesday nights. And he would come out there every Wednesday. He'd come out after church and he'd make his appearance. It wasn't like his gig, but he would kind of spoil the gig, or not really spoil, but he would crash the gig. That's what I'm looking for. And the band that had just been playing was actually Glenn Duncan and Larry Cordell and some guys like that. It was actually their gig, and so they'd sit down and Bill would get up and play a set, and I'd always get up and play guitar with him, and he was quite the character.
Ever performed the Mule Skinner Blues with him?
I'm sure that I have. I don't remember specific songs, but
I think that was one of his songs.
Oh yeah, he definitely, that was the first song he sang on the Grand Ole Opry. When he came to the Grand Ole Opry, that was his first song.
Besides doing bluegrass, you also do children's music?
I do. When Debbie and I decided to have a family, we were looking for a way to get off the road and still support our music habit. Actually, our music needed to support our eating habit, and so I became a children's performer. And so for the last 16 years or so, I've also done performances for kids. We do character building and a lot of silliness. We do the Stinky Feet song and the Underwear song, and just have a lot of fun with kids.
Now, do you also write?
Oh yes.
Children's.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so every time we'd need a new song, we'd write it. So
how do you go from writing children's songs to adult songs?
It's all about communicating to the audience. So you just get on the level of whatever audience you're on. So So you know, sometimes you have to go a little further down to communicate to adults than you do for kids.
So it's know your audience type of thing.
Yeah, it's know your audience. Yes.
How do the children react to new songs that they never heard before?
Well, it just you know, it's like any other audience. If you have touched a nerve, if you've managed to communicate to something to them something that they are really excited about, then they'll get right on board with it. So you know, kids they like silliness, they like stinky feet and underwear, and you know, so
On body noises.
yeah. Well, I do have lines that I will not cross. I'll say that, but we just have fun with them. You know, you just love them and have fun with them, and you write things that they can appreciate. I know a lot of adults when they talk about when they do a children's record, they do songs about children or about things that they liked when they were a kid, but they don't really necessarily communicate to the kids. And so we always tried to communicate to the kids.
Present day level.
Yeah, exactly.
Current iPhones and iPads.
Well, you know, just whatever's happening. You know, it's probably more like SpongeBob but you know, we just whatever they're tuned into, that's what we try to tune into.
Now you go into schools and libraries and public places where children have organized
exactly
programs.
Yep, absolutely. A lot of preschools. A lot of libraries, some churches, some schools.
Excellent. Now, your whole family is musical. Everyone plays an instrument. Or two.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone sings. It's very unfair how talent is distributed all in one family.
Well, we say at our house, even the sewing machine's a singer.
Maybe we'll edit that one out, huh? Was your lifelong dream of raising a musical family?
I don't know about a lifelong dream, but as long as we've had children, you know, when Melody came along and she started exhibiting some musical ability or interest, you know, it became pretty obvious that that's something we wanted to do. We were singing at nursing homes and things with Debbie and I and Melody, and so, you know, it was pretty obvious pretty quick that this would be fun to do as a family, and so we forced the other two into it.
So you write and perform as a family unit.
Yes.
Excellent. Debbie, can we get you up here?
Sure.
Now, you've been performing for 20 years?
Yes.
Are you also from West Virginia area?
I am, and we're from the same little old town in West Virginia right outside Huntington. As far west in West Virginia you can go and still be in West Virginia.
And you were a founding member of the band Shadow Ridge.
Oh, yes, we were. That was our first child, we tease.
The band.
Yes, the band was our first child.
And you play mandolin, rhythm mandolin?
Yes, sir.
What's the difference between, is there a lead mandolin or?
There is. Mandolin is new to me, and so I just kind of keep the percussion.
You play any other instruments?
I do not. It's the first time I've ever played anything. I sing.
You ever get vocal training when you were younger?
Yes, I was singing choruses all my life. I sang in choruses all my life. I grew up singing in an a cappella church environment, and so I'm used to hearing harmonies. And then I met Kevin. I'd never heard bluegrass until I met Kevin, and he and his dad had their band Red Wing, and I learned how to sing harmony because I'd sung melody all my life. And I learned how to sing harmony listening to them, and they took me under their wing and put me on stage with them singing some harmonies, and it was really cool.
So it's easy for you to go from lead vocal to harmony?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Which do you prefer?
You know, at this point, I think I almost prefer singing harmony. It's just so fun to add those textures to a song.
Mm-hmm.
It does something to the spirit, you know, to have those layers there, and I like to be a part of that.
Now, from your geographical region where you and Kevin grew up, bluegrass is the staple
Yes.
of music genre.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about maybe branching out into something else besides bluegrass?
Well, we actually do a lot of gospel music. Our album that we have out right now is all gospel singing. It's bluegrass gospel. It's all original songs that Kevin wrote, and okay, it's mostly. It's mostly. You know, he writes so much, I just kind of lose track. It's mostly songs that Kevin wrote, and a couple of old familiar.
We wish he'd written some of those.
Yeah, a couple of familiar tunes, and so we sing in churches a whole lot.
Yeah.
And we enjoy that.
Do you go out with him when he's doing the kids shows?
I usually don't. Our girls do. The big girls especially, they go with him, and Cadence is even starting to play her bass on some of those songs, and so it's pretty neat. It's extra training and a lot of good experience for them.
Excellent. We want to hear a song.
That'd be great.
We'll sing you a song about our hometown back there in West Virginia. We don't actually live, or we're not actually from a coal mining town, but our little town supports the coal mines in that it's really kind of a railroad town. So this song is called "I Was Raised in a Railroad Town." 2, 3. I was raised in a railroad town. I can sleep just fine through the whistle sound. Across the street was Jesse's track. The N&W ran out back. As they hauled coal from the mountains to a nation built on steam, where we lived our lives to the rhythm of the tides beneath the wheel. We heard up north that they made millions off our sleepy little town, but they never sent none down. Well, I was raised in a railroad town. You could see the trestle for miles around. Us boys would climb it just for fun and to feel the power of 1,000,000 tons. They hauled coal from the mountains to a nation built on steam, where we lived our lives to the rhythm of the tides beneath the wheel. We heard up north that they made millions off our sleepy little town, but they never sent none down. Let's pick it. Town on a little patch of holy ground, but I hit the road when I turned 18. Now I hear the whistle blow in my dreams, still hauling coal from the mountains to a nation built on steam, where we live our lives to the rhythm of the tides beneath the wheel. We heard up north that they made millions off our sleepy little town, but they still won't send none down. I was raised in a railroad town.
Now, Debbie, I got to ask you, how many octaves can you hit?
I probably can only hit maybe one or two, but I'd say that Cadence over there can put out about 3 or 4.
It seems like you're well above that 2-octave level.
Yeah. Melody was singing the high one on that one, and I was singing under her, but then Cadence came in at the end there, and she sang way up there. Yeah.
Now, as a working musical family, how do you manage raising 3 kids and maintaining some sense of normalcy?
Yeah. Well, it's a challenge, actually. Well, we homeschool, first of all, because the girls...
And we're far from normal.
Because these girls, obviously, they're out quite a bit. And so homeschooling fits our way of life and our ministry really well. And so we try to do that. We stay in touch with the church. We have our home congregation. And so when we're not on the road, we make sure that we're there and our girls are there to keep touch with their friends as much as possible. And obviously, I have family really close, and so we just try to keep touch with close friends and family and keep everybody as down to earth and rooted as possible.
What about outside interests? I'm sure Kevin and you and the girls, you all have different interests other than music.
Well, if we did, it would be difficult to fit them in. These girls clog dance. They're all 3. They're award-winning cloggers, and so they clog dance. And the older 2 are a member of a square dance team. And Melody also loves to be in plays and act, and Cadence does too. Melody's, matter of fact, she just wrote and is directing a play that our church is getting ready to put on in a couple of weeks, and so they love to do that. It's a lot of work and a lot of fun, but mostly, I mean, we just do music. I mean, we love it. It's part of who we are, and yeah, it's just all the time.
So this is like forever and ever. You're the ultimate life for the Williamsons.
We think so. I mean, right now this is where we feel like God has us. He's called us to do this ministry as a family, and just like any other job, it has good things about it, and it has really difficult things about it. But we're walking by faith and trying to follow the direction He has for us.
So the challenges are many, but you kind of just roll with everything that comes along.
You try to, as best you can. Sometimes we kind of thump instead of roll, but we do our best.
Some of us are a little more control freaks than others of us. And I'm not going to say who's...
Yeah.
That means Debbie must be the manager.
Yeah. Yeah, and some of us are not as detail-oriented as we ought to be.
Who does manage the band?
Actually, Kevin does. I just make sure everybody gets there dressed.
What's the best venue you've played at?
Oh, wow. The best venue we've played. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of awesome places that we've played.
Your all-time favorite. The one that you would go back to over and over again without question.
Wow. We go back to over and over again. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a hard question because they're different. You know, churches are... Some of the churches that we go to, I mean, there's just such a move of the Spirit when we're singing, and that's awesome. But like, you know, we played bluegrass festivals where, you know, you're just connecting with the crowd, and there's lots of people, and it's really exciting. And so that's cool. It's just different. We got to play the Ernest Tubb Texas Troubadour Theater the other night, and I mean, just, you know, just this nostalgia behind that is so cool to be there on that stage. And we sang on WSM the other night, and it was just, you know, just the history that's there, and getting to be part of that is just amazing.
Bluegrass in Nashville, it's not unheard of.
No.
Do you ever kind of sneak in a pure country song in every once in a while?
We do. As a matter of fact, we have a young lady who's written a very pure country song, and it's actually a lament about the lack of country music in today's country music, and I think maybe she's going to sing it in a little while. Yes,
she is. That's a good segue to get to
All right.
to Melody's segment. Now, you're 16?
Yes, I am. I just turned 16.
So you play the fiddle, you play the guitar, what other instruments you play?
I play fiddle and guitar and mandolin because it's kind of a mixture of both.
Okay, what about banjo? Ever have an interest in banjo?
I don't know. I kind of plunk around on the one that's at the house, but not enough to notice.
How long have you been writing music? Or writing songs?
Writing songs. I've probably been writing songs well for about 2.5 years.
How about unwell?
Oh, it's been as long as I can remember.
You know, singing, making it up as you go.
Now, as you were growing up, and you found yourself constantly with an instrument in your hand and being instructed how to play it, what were you thinking? Were you thinking that this is a career move for you, or that the career was already made for you?
Absolutely. I mean, I've always loved the music. It's always been such a huge part of me and part of who I am as a person, and it's an excellent way that I found to express myself.
And bluegrass is
yes,
a good genre for you?
yeah, absolutely. I've never thought of anywhere else that I would rather be.
Okay.
Than part of this music.
When you perform, you're performing in different places at different venues. Do you prefer one certain venue over another?
I don't think I prefer a certain venue over another. It's like kind of like what Mom said about picking a favorite. It's really hard because they're so diverse and all the crowds are so different. And I feel like there's always somebody out there in the audience that needs to hear what you have to say in your songs. And so I don't feel like there's ever one audience that I appreciate more than any other.
Now, you were featured in the International Bluegrass Music Association's Kids on Bluegrass Showcase.
Yeah, it's a really awesome program that every year we get about between 20 and 30 kids from across the nation. They send in audition tapes, and then every year we meet in Raleigh or wherever the convention happens to be. The last 2 years it's been in Raleigh, and it will stay there for a couple more. We meet there, and we have 2 or 3 rehearsals, and then we play 2 shows together that weekend, and then we come back and do it the next year. So it's all a lot of fun, and a lot of kids that love to play bluegrass music, and so that's what we do.
Is there a competitor that no matter you win or lose, you just want to beat this one competitor?
Oh, no. And that's one of the things about the bluegrass world that's so fun, is you know that you can't make it without each other. You know, you can't have
camaraderie within the system.
Yeah, if I'm playing fiddle, I've got to have, guitar, mandolin, bass, fiddle, or not fiddle, but you know what I mean. You've got to have all the other instruments to make it work. So that's where, and you don't want just one bluegrass band, so you've got to have lots of people doing it. And that's why the competitive thing has never been an issue.
So no adults are allowed to play in this showcase.
Everybody is 17 or younger.
17 or younger. Do you get to choose who you play with?
No, they kind of break it up and pick for you. So.
Is it like a random picking, or do they say this person has a great voice, this person plays the fiddle better than this person, so let's put those 2 together? Is that how they do it?
Well, I mean, it's kind of more like we need these instruments on this song, and then they try to, they need the certain instruments on each song, and then they try to pick evenly so that everybody has about the same amount of songs.
Is there judges on these panels that there's no judging?
No, it's just a big show.
Wow. I never heard of it. It's the first time I've heard of it.
It's really fun.
Now, you recently wrote a song, There's No Country Here.
Yep. It's called, There's No Country Here, and I posted a video on YouTube in January, and by March it had, across its internet sources, about 500,000 views.
Oh, excellent. Now, before we get into your song, obviously the title says it all.
It's true.
What made you think of country being lacking in the contemporary form?
Well, I don't think it was one specific event that keyed this song. It was more like something that it was a recurring theme in not only my own household, where we talk about the fact that mainstream country is kind of on a downhill slide, but
It's more of a crossover, isn't it?
yeah, it's definitely more pop or something to that effect than it is country.
Yeah.
But
So you're looking to bring a tradition back?
Right.
What you're looking to do?
And I think part of that is kind of like my bluegrass roots, you know, is it's good to learn new songs and it's good to integrate new things into the music. And we try to do that with bluegrass too, but this old standards, we could still sing all night and it'd still be okay.
Here's Melody Williamson with her song she wrote, There's No Country Here.
Well, I turned on my radio tonight, and I realized that something wasn't right. I heard the banjo and the guitar strum, but it didn't sound like anything my heroes would have sung. Country music gone, I just don't know. There's no feeling in our songs, where did it go? When all we sing about are tractors, trucks, and beer, oh I know there's no country here. Sings about his wife, just drunken honky-tonkin' Friday nights. Then I hear their language, I turn the dial, and I just have to wonder, when did class go out of style? Where's my country music gone? I just don't know. There's no feeling in our songs, where did it go? When all we sing about are tractors, trucks, and beer, oh I know there's no country here. Who told those country boys that they could rap? And who told Music Row we wanna listen to that crap? Well, where's my country music gone? I just don't know. There's no feeling in our songs, where did it go? All we sing about are tractors, trucks, and beer, oh I know there's no country here.
That was an excellent song.
Thank you.
Do you have any other songs that you'll be recording in the near future?
Well, I've got at least a couple of other originals on my YouTube page, but there are always new things in the works as well. lots more to write and lots more to record. So we're always really excited to put out new music.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot. Cadence,
Yes, sir.
you're not the youngest member of this musical family, are you?
I am not.
How old are you?
I am 12 years old.
You're 12 years old? And you've been in this band your entire life, right?
I have.
You play the bass, you play the U bass.
I do.
Is that an instrument that you were first interested in, or?
No, we didn't find this U bass until like 2 years ago.
2 years
I
ago?
played fiddle up until then.
And you got the fiddle in your hand right now.
I do.
Is that
Play a little
the
bit.
instrument you started off with?
Yes, sir.
You play any other instruments?
I mess around on a lot of the other ones. I can play a little bit of guitar and mandolin and just a wee bit of banjo.
Did you take violin lessons?
I did when I was littler. It's not really my main instrument anymore, though.
Your U bass would be your main instrument.
Yes, sir.
You have a very high vocal,
Yes.
and you bring in a different flavor to a bluegrass band that can actually go up octaves.
Yeah.
Do you practice hitting those high notes?
Kind of.
What's the highest note you can hit?
I'm really loud.
Give it a whirl. Let's hear it. Let's hear it. Let's see what.
Do the note from
let's see what you can.
Daddy's summer show.
Yeah,
I can
let's
go
see what.
higher than that.
Okay, we'll go.
Go as high as you can.
And still sing?
No,
Yes.
just hit the note.
That's a scream.
That's a scream.
That's high.
So sing that.
That is high.
Sing those notes from
Well, he didn't say I had to sing.
She tried. Do you write songs also?
I do a little bit. Not really, though.
Is that something you're interested in?
Maybe a little bit.
What type of songs would you like to write?
Oh, you just
I
wrote
don't
one
know.
with your sister the other night.
Yeah, we wrote one the other day, huh?
Mm-hmm.
You'd have plenty of co-writers with you, guiding you along.
All the time.
Yeah.
Have you watched the songwriting process while your father or your mother were composing music and writing lyrics?
Well, I don't really get to watch anybody because, first of all, my sister doesn't let me in the room when she's in the groove. And I'm usually doing schoolwork when my father's writing.
Ah, okay. Now, do you have a song for us?
I'm going to do one that my dad wrote. It's called Little Ones to Him Belong.
For the new album, huh?
And it's from our new album.
All right, let's play. All right, 2, 3, 1, 2.
This world is so big, and I am so small. But I know the one
job, Cadence.
Thank you.
That's a perfect name for a bass player, though, isn't it?
It is.
Or the drummer.
We think so.
Now, Debbie, you were just flatlining that uke.